you're doing okay. I've heard that you need information about the creative nonfiction. So, fortunately, Group E is here to help you. Let me introduce myself first. I'm Rochelle May Balesteros, and with the help of my co-members, we will make sure that you will gain knowledge that you can use in your studies. So let me introduce them. I am with Japet Villanueva,
Nivea Butoy, John Rolin Barabat, Lavinia Labrada, Andrea Bulan, Jeff Pasol, Saivel Santos, EJ Burabo.
Now that you already know us, let me share to you what is my idea on how will I describe creative nonfiction as a literary genre. Creative nonfiction is a form of storytelling that employs the creative writing techniques of literature such as poetry and fiction to retell a true story. Creative nonfiction writers write about themselves and others, capturing the real people and real life. How about you, Japet? I guess you have more idea about the creative nonfiction. Can you share it with them?
You're right, and thank you for that, Miss Rochelle Balesteros. In addition, creative nonfiction, also known as literary nonfiction or creative nonfiction, is a genre of writing that uses literary styles and techniques to create factually accurate narratives. Creative nonfiction contrasts with other nonfiction, such as academic or technical writing, or journalism, which also rooted in an accurate fact, but it's not written to entertain based on writing style. Do you know what are the elements of creative nonfiction? Well, in that, Saivel Santos knows more about it. Saivel?
You're right. I am quite familiar with some elements of creative nonfiction, such as the plot, characters, and characterization. Firstly, the plot of a story is a sequence of events that take place allowing a story to unfold. According to Freytag's pyramid, the plot is divided into 5 parts: the exposition, the rising action, the climax, the falling action, and the resolution. Next, a character is an individual or a person in a story. Characterization, on the other hand, is the portrayal or representation of that character. There's still other elements I haven't mentioned. Do you want to share some of them, Relene?
Yes, of course. Let me discuss the point of view. Point of view is the perspective from which a speaker or writer recounts a narrative or presents information. There are 3 main types of point of view: first person, second person, and third person. Each type offers a different vantage point into a story's events. Writers use them depending on how they want readers to experience the story. Next is the angle. The story angle is the specific viewpoint or perspective from which a writer tells his or her story, and often the same story can be told from a different viewpoint. Here's Nivea to share other ideas about these elements.
Yes, Rolling, thank you. The setting. The setting identifies the place where the scene or story happens or take place, and the setting is the backdrop of a story and the atmosphere of a scene. Next is symbols and symbolism. So symbolism is a literary device that uses symbols, they be words, people, marks, location, or abstract ideas to represent something beyond literal meaning. But how about your Jeff? Do you know some more elements?
Irony is a figure of speech in which there is a contradiction of expectation between what is said and what is really meant. And the other 5 of figures of speech is simile. Simile is the fact that the powerless of 2 objects, which is various relations between them, is compared to the strong. And the second of figures of speech is hyperbole. It is an art of telling the idea that is meant to be explained by making it larger or smaller. And the third of figures of speech is anaphora. Anaphora is when a word is repeated multiple times within a paraphrase. The next, Andrea Bulan will be explain the dialogue and scene.
Thank you, Ms. Dialogo, when used as literary technique, helps to advance the plot of a narrative as characteristic engage in dialogo to reveal plans of action and their inner thoughts and emotions. Scene. It's common in theater rather in film. There's no film to cut. When you're directing a theater production, based on my observation, These elements can also be found in fiction. Can you distinguish those elements, Miss Lavinia?
The elements of fiction. The first one, elements of fiction, we have a characters. Characters are beings who live in the story. They can be actual people from this planet or aliens from somewhere in the outer space. And the second one, elements of fiction, we have a setting. Setting is basically refers to the place of the narratives. And the third one, elements of fiction, we have a conflict. Conflict is the struggle between the opposing force or entitled the main characters encounters a conflict. How about you, EJ? What are the other elements that you can distinguish in fiction from creative nonfiction?
Thank you, Lavinia. Aside from your answer, I know that point of view, theme, plot is part of it. So first, what is point of view? Point of view refers to who is the telling or narrating a story. A story can be told from first person, second person, or third person point of view. Second is the theme. Theme is the subject of the story underlying the truth conveyed the author through the story. Third is plot. Plot refers to the string of events present in the narrative or order of events in the story. This is fun and great bonding. What insight have you learned, Sybil?
Yes, I have realized from this conversation that these elements are important to keep the story running smoothly and allow the action to develop in a logical way that the reader can follow. Rochelle, as a young student, what do you think are the implications of this topic to you?
That's a wonderful question, Sybil. Well, as a young student, creative nonfiction is surrounding with us. As we engage the creative nonfiction, it will help us improve the ability to describe the world through an honest and unfiltered lens. It will help us explore the human experiences and share new ideas to others. Let ourselves practice writing factual compositions so that we can help people know what is the truth that the world have. So that's all for today's video, and I hope you learned something and we help you understand creative nonfiction so well. Thank you for listening. Bye!